So maybe you just started playing, or maybe you've been playing for a little while but are kind of lost. That's okay. Regardless of where you're at in your playtime, from literally day one or having a few months to years under your belt, I'm going to show you how to get from this to this in what I consider to be the most efficient path to endgame content in Guild Wars 2. Now, going from a fresh account, this will take some time, but it will take significantly less time than you might expect. So let's get into it. And I know what you're thinking, but wait, Sil, what even is the endgame? For this video, we will be focusing on the PvE content types, which are basically broken up into 4 categories. The open world, like meta events, fractals, strike missions, and raids. In the event you are only interested in the open world aspect of the endgame, you could go ahead and skip this video. This video is about getting into the endgame instance content. If you want to just be able to do the endgame meta events, stop over at my video about open world PvE builds, where I cover the basic gearing and build. You don't need optimization to play the endgame open world content. You literally just need to show up, have a character, and if you want to do extra, you can optimize. For this method, you're going to need the expansions and the living world, primarily the Icebrood Saga. So with that, if you do not have the living world stories or the other expansions to the game, go ahead and pick them up. They are on sale right now. However, if you don't want to yet, expansions go on sale multiple times throughout the year, so don't feel like you're missing out. Just pick them up next time they go on sale. So you bought the game. Next step is picking your class. Don't worry, you can pick anything you want and be effective. It doesn't matter what class you play, but I would recommend Guardian, Necromancer, or Engineer. It honestly doesn't matter though, as long as it's not Elementalist.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Next is getting to level 80. You can do this by any means, by boosting, by farming PvP, but on a fresh account, if you don't want to blow your boost, you should load up on gathering materials and map complete each zone. You will outlevel the zones very quickly by following this technique, and your first 100% map completion is an extremely quick way to get a large amount of gold for your account, so that way you could finance your progression to the end game. But how? The Wizard's Vault. Once you hit level 80, you will have access to the Wizard's Vault, which allows you to complete daily, weekly, and special achievements. Not only can you get ascended gear directly from this, which has the highest stats in the game, but also you have the ability to get a legendary starter kit. This means that you can jump directly from almost no account value to over 1,000 gold in account value in just over the course of a few weeks, assuming that you play the correct content. Starting with the most basic PvE content, core map completion. It has 25 maps in total, and this has a dual benefit of opening up the map for your character, giving you experience for levels and spirit shards, while also giving you access to raw materials. The middle tier materials like iron and platinum can be very lucrative for a new player in need of gold. Make sure that you have the appropriate gathering tools on your character while you're working through these zones. You're going to need to spend some money on exotic armor while you are waiting to finish up your ascended armor. After finishing map completion, you will receive 2 gifts of exploration, which you will use one of them on the legendary to finish the legendary from the legendary starter kit. World vs. World is required for every legendary item in the form of a gift of battle. So make sure that you just join World vs. World, you have the gift of battle reward track selected, find a Zerg, and then just run around. You get reward points based on participation and time spent in World vs. Worlds. Unless you are really into PvP, I would just advise find a Zerg, run around with the Zerg. Don't roam alone. While you're working on your World vs. World gift of battle, make sure to pick up the stat selectable ring, amulet, accessory, and backpack in exchange for World vs. World currency. This is by far the cheapest way to get exotic stat selectable gear. For the purpose of this guide, we will want Berserker stats. Before the last step of this legendary journey, you are going to need to optimize your gear. It can be all exotic gear, but it needs to be Berserker's gear with Scholar runes. Even if that build setup is suboptimal because they recommend assassin stats or something like that, it should be better than most players. All you need to do is go to Hardstuck, Snowcrows, Guild Gen, or Meta Battle and find a current build on this current patch. We are going to be looking at powered DPS options. Boon support, Condi DPS, or heal specs should be saved and geared out later due to the unique nature of their playstyle and gear sets that are required. So for the time being, ignore these builds. The last gift on this legendary journey is called the Gift of Fortune, which, like its name says, it costs a fortune, mostly in the form of tier 6 materials and mystic clovers. The best way to get these materials as a new player is through laurels and trophy shipments. Trophy shipments you get from Living World Season 4 vendors for volatile magic, and you can get that volatile magic from strike missions. Strike missions is the second in-game content type that we will be discussing. The most important strike missions are the daily ones, which are the Icebrood Saga 5, where they reward you with eternal ice shards, and those can be transformed into other tier 4 materials, which then can be transformed into volatile magic. So you can also use this to get some ascended accessories as well as ascended rings from the Living World vendors. So you can literally just play strikes and then use that currency to transform it into ascended rings, amulets, and so on. However, this is team-based content, so you will need an effective build, you will need optimized gear. On the bright side though, since your gear is now optimized, you will have the ability to do raid wings as well. So wings 1 through 4 and 5 through 7 would be available to you, assuming that you have the appropriate gliding masteries or mounts unlocked on your account, which you should be still playing as you are working on this. You should still be playing the game. Don't just grind, but this is the most effective path. The final piece of your legendary, as I mentioned earlier, for this Gift of Fortune is Mystic Clovers. This is a unique currency that can be purchased through special vendors like Fractal, Strike, or Raid vendors. They can also be bought from the Wizard's Vault directly, and there is a gambling option in the Mystic Forge. I do not recommend doing that. You can save up Wizard's Vault currency, or you can buy 10 of them from each of these vendors per week to save up the 77 required for the legendary. On a side note, there are also various reward tracks in World vs. World and PvP that can give you one-time Mystic Clovers. You also get I think 2 Mystic Clovers from the Gift of Battle reward track, so keep that in mind while you're running World vs. World. And then once you complete your legendary item, you can sell it directly and then buy the remaining pieces of your ascended armor. You should have a profit of around 1,000 gold after selling your legendary. I recommend leveling a crafting profession of your choice to 400 so that way you can craft ascended armor. Armor smithing is going to be for heavy armor, leatherworking for medium, and tailoring for light. You can find the lowest cost, quickest way to achieve this on guildwars2crafts.net. It will give you a list of all the items needed and their value. After doing that, you can buy the materials you need for the remaining ascended armor pieces and craft them, and the last step is getting ascended rings, amulets, and accessories. After optimizing your exotic gear, you should have been dabbling with raids and strike missions. And if you haven't, that's okay. Though the Ascended Armor grind is only really to help you unlock the most lucrative content in the game, which is fractals. At this point in your journey to endgame, you only really need to work on leveling up your fractal level and getting agony resistance. With the gold that you have available from your sold legendary, you should have enough to get 18 plus 9 agony infusions. You may not have all of those spots available for them due to not having attuned or infused rings, but you only need that high of agony resistance for the highest level of fractals. Once you have completed this, you are officially at the end game and your journey is complete. Raids, fractals, and strikes all give ascended gear so it is an easy way to gear up alternate characters or alternate builds on the same character. You should have the ability to branch out into all content types as a DPS player, and you can now level up your gameplay by gearing out alternate builds and characters, unlocking legendaries for your account, and enjoying the game to its fullest. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you watched until the end, I really appreciate it, and I humbly ask you to consider subscribing, liking the video if you enjoyed it, and let me know about your journey to the endgame in the comments below. And if you are experienced already, drop some hot tips for the newbies who are just starting their journey. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.